I kind of hate and love how quickly Marvel Rivals releases new skins and costumes for the characters, because on one end, I take a little bit of a break and then I'm way behind. And then on the other end, the looks are so great that it's going to make for a really great video to dive into all of it. So let's get started. Now, because there are so many skins that I'm catching up on, I'm going to spare you too much of an upfront, but I am going to orchestrate or structure this video in a way that I think is maybe a little bit more fun than just going through my top favorite character skins from Marvel Rivals seasons 5 through 6. So here's how we're going to do this. Number one, we're going to bring back the cosmetic categorization. You know, slay the day and save the day. I always laugh just because it's so silly. But I'm going to introduce a third one, which is play the day. Not completely married and like in love with that naming convention, but with all of these thematic seasonal hyper stylized skins that have been released, it's leaning into like costumes, a little bit of a cosplay territory, which is fun, but I feel like is a unique kind of category outside of just fashion slay and superhero traditional save the day. And with that in mind, I'm also going to be reviewing these latest cosmetics in order of least favorite to most favorite, you know, loosely ranked in that way, but I'm gonna go in character order. So if there's a character that has like maybe one skin that I don't like as much as another character's, but the collection is stronger than the other characters, then I'm gonna put them above. Does that make sense? You'll see as I go, it'll make a little bit more sense. And then within the character allotment, I'm gonna loosely rank those looks from least favorite to most favorite. So a little bit of kind of like compounding multi-dimensional criteria. But with all that said, let's just start getting into looking at these cosmetics. Starting with Namor, and this immediately reminded me of Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean. I really can't stand the look of it. It's ugly. It's just too rugged and ragged. But again, that's thematically perfect. And I think also aligns really well with his lore, his backstory, who he is, like ruler, king of the sea, a legendary. So bummed. I'm really hoping we can get a sharper, more suave legendary skin for him eventually. But it's a little bit of fashion-y just because we get like standard clothing items, but so much more in line with something thematic oriented. Then we have Rocket. And even though this is a little bit more of a Thieves Guild oriented concept, so this could lean into play the day, but I feel like that Animal Party one that I'm skipping that one. That one's a clear play the day cosplay panda situation. This one, even though it's stylized, it just has so much more kind of fashion typical components. We have the layers, we have the accessorizing. And so between this and the Western one, I feel like I'm really starting to see Rocket's style potential, or at least some of that style capability manifested outside of the more campy, cutesy, silly ones that he has. So I'm really hoping they can continue to give him this treatment. Mantis, and she's been getting some very ethereal, fantastical designs that I feel like easily slay the day. This one could almost argue that this is a little bit of a save the day, just given, I think, of like a medieval Renaissance battle maven kind of style. Obviously, this is a play the day. I mean, we've seen a lot of these kinds of elements before, but it still is very cute and allows even some body confidence to come through, but still a play over the slay. Now here we have Black Widow. This whole skin collection even is a blatant save the day in the best way possible. I feel like it kind of gives us a little bit of some allusion back to very classic OG superhero designs, that unitard one piece stockings and then the boots. Even I think some of the male characters kind of had that style, which is fine. And I actually feel like this is especially good for like a Black Widow because it breaks us out of a little bit more of what was still save the day, but a little bit more modern, but also some slay the days that she's gotten, because she's very fierce when they really let her live into her style potential. I just love the color scheme. I love that little kind of like violet, rich purple shade of like hair color that she has, and the whole kind of masquerade, fantasy, fantastical fairy tale whimsy kind of air about this whole collection. Now, Jeff is always going to get some sort of thematic design. I feel like if there's any character that lives almost exclusively in a category, it would be him within the play the day. But I'm gonna go ahead and give this a slay the day just because he's corporate ready. It still is a little bit whimsical, still cutesy, obviously. Like we can't completely make him super serious. Even when he had like the symbiote one, it still was kind of cute, just all the roundedness. He's a corporate executive. He's making that money, moving business forward. It's so fun. And the fact that you can kind of play with different accessories like a bow tie and all that other stuff really made this kind of interesting to me. Now, I actually skipped most of like I missed the window. I missed the December holiday window, late to the game. So I'm just like, let me not even get into all that. That's obviously going to be a lot of thematic play the day, Santa-esque, winter-esque costume stuff. But here we have a slay the day. I just couldn't help but to highlight this. Super simple, super fresh, really highlights his cool guy S5-6. I keep saying S5-6. I don't like that. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm leaving this in. That's stupid. Capitalizes on the fact that he can be suave, cool, and just mysterious, given the fact that he lurks in that darkness and just a little bit of his kit. But just with the candy, like, it's just so simple and cute. And like the light devil horns, simple accessories. You do not have to do too much. Okay, I definitely skipped a lot of the animal party. I mean, like, Jeff was a chicken in this animal party, like a little event. It's just too over the top for me. Squirrel Girl, this is perfect. She's already someone who has a diverse range of style capabilities. As we've seen, they've absolutely spoiled her. But she's also someone with that whimsical, funny, quirky personality. And I feel like you do see a lot of that within the cosplay community, but there's also a lot of genuine style and fashion. This one toes the line absolutely perfectly, to the point where, ooh, I almost want to give it a Slay the Day. I feel like this is super Slay the Day potential, just given the clear, strong accessorizing and layering and just coordination that we have going on overall. Gonna give it a Play the Day just based on this literally being like a red panda concept, and we see a lot of those different motifs sprinkled in. So it feels a little costumey, but I love that they give her looks that can really play in multiple lanes. Now I had to cover this Blade one. I skipped the pajama one just because it's like pajamas, whatever. That was, I feel like, Play the Day throwaway. This one, I feel like, as basic as it is, really like gives him some peripheral benefit of that overall disco groovy theme that I cannot wait to get into. Absolutely gushing over that. It's just with the fro, it just gives like, it feels like it's very classic, almost like Blackula, kind of like a little kind of like blaxploitation. But I feel like that's still very, I feel like I just see all the culture in the style. And I just feel like it's funky, groovy, and it's a nice change from what we've been getting from him. All these dark, grim looks, something a little bit more fun, even for a character like him. Now, Deadpool, the main thing that I wanted to call out here is really that cropped vest jacket situation. This is obviously a save the day look, as most of the default character outfits are. Compared to, I think, his default style, we're really just getting more accessories like pouches, holsters, belts, just those different kind of textural elements, which I feel like definitely helps his look not be as flat as maybe we've seen historically or maybe within the comics. But it's really just that cropped element that I think distinguishes this look from what it could have been otherwise, and also just gives it a little touch of style. So I'm really hoping that they can continue to play with, actually within this framework, maybe just with more discernible clothing items to give him a little bit of that fashion flair. This one's obviously, like, I don't know his full backstory. I could have done the research. I feel like he is a character that clearly has some mental stuff going on. And I feel like this captures, even though it leans into the broader like space pirate concept, really captures a lot of that kind of manic, wild energy that he has, just with all the elements involved, like dark red, skull-oriented pirate stuff mixed with like unicorn, cutesy, fuzzy, like accessories or tools. It's such a weird juxtaposition, and I feel like juxtaposition, he is the embodiment of juxtaposition almost to an extent. But anyway, love the body confidence. Do love the coordination. It's not a complete clash. It somehow works, but really only for someone like him. A couple of notes that I wanted to make with regard to Lady Loki, outside of the fact that this look is absolutely fierce. Leading into point number one, I just love how this captures a little bit of that androgyny and kind of like fluidity that Loki has in general. We've seen that with regard to a number of his looks, particularly the swimsuit one, which is one of the, still takes one of the top spots as far as one of the best swimsuits cosmetics in games for characters. But I love that this one is just so different, complementary to the female figure. Also just feels a little bit more elite and not as stuffy, like elite and fierce without having to be as like layered and almost burdened by the layers like Loki's default style is. But I wanted to call out that in this female form, you see the immediate pivot to so much more skin. I would actually like to have seen or see a somewhat default Loki skin, just with more of that male body confidence. We've talked about this, how with regard to women, they often show more of this kind of skin in the same kind of framework that a man could have, where he's more covered up. Would love to see some of that kind of played with with regard to his default framework and structure and like situation. But I'm glad that I was able to position these effectively, because then on the other end of the spectrum, we've been getting, I think, some really interesting body confidence from Angela. I'm skipping that weird wolf one. I don't like that one. And I just like don't even want to talk about it. It's like, she just looks like an animal. It's cool. And her figure really comes through, but I feel like we just get to see so much, and we get to appreciate so much more of her figure in actual clothing that is tailored to that design. And I especially love her hair. her hair is just so cool. The whole kind of spiral drill, because like she also has the ribbon in her ultimate. I just really love how this brings to life so many more elements of her character outside of just angelic buff body woman. Any time we can get a character that is typically just in some sort of like otherworldly form or is covered up, anytime we can actually see the person underneath, I'm celebrating it. Get another skin for Human Torch that does this. It looks so good, and it's such a simple twist on, I feel like, a typical look that we've seen. It's almost Western mixed with that kind of classic European, like, I keep saying Alice in Wonderland inspired, but like, you know exactly what I mean. And just with like I feel like a heart-shaped lapels, if I'm seeing that correctly. It's almost just like burning heart, burning passion, but just, and even the color scheme is just so unlike what I would have expected. I would have maybe expected more red, maybe even just some darker tones, but I really love how all of that plays together. It feels golden, but just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just really leaning into like high fashion, fierce Western. The Mr. Fantastic style is just like dad style to the next century. I just don't understand. I feel like this almost gives no excuse why some guys can't dress better than they do. He's wearing Crocs, for heaven's sake, joggers. It's just so casual, so dad style, but just is so well put together. Effortlessly cool, effortlessly fresh, easy breezy, comfortable. And I just, it's like, are we taking the notes? Are we trying to find similar items to buy? Like, there's no excuse not to be coordinated after seeing such simple, practical looks just like this. Spider-Man is a good springboard for me to touch on what I love so much about this groovy disco collection and concept and event. Absolutely obsessed with it. We can see this obvious, geometric, prismatic, shimmery. It even lends some of the characters some ethereal kind of touch to their designs. And I really love how Spider-Man's design captures that all the way throughout, from clothes to body. It could have been a much more flat design, borderline save the day, but they went a full slave for him. Number one, just with the gold and how it contrasts the silver. We need the flared pants. We need a little bit of a heeled, slick boot, and we need some sort of cropped element just with those sharp lapels really helping give him some extra dimension and just overall silhouette. Obsessed. What's so interesting about Venom within this Marvel Rivals universe is the fact that they've almost meme-ified him, if for lack of a better phrase, because he's so dark. He's such a grim, like crazy backstory, whatever. The fact that they can just reimagine him in such a fantastical Candyland aesthetic is wild to me. Really shows the full range of fun and potential and experimentation that you can have with this overall kind of body, as well as just overall kind of character and persona. Silly to serious is such a great mix. It's obviously a play of the day. This just looks like some sort of crazy, campy, out there, highly imaginative costume idea that someone could have come up with for him. But the fact that it's come to life in this cutesy, gummy format with a nice little tutu, I just like they're not afraid to go there and play with a traditionally hyper-masculine character and give him something so much more soft and fun, especially in concert with the other characters within this theme, which are feminine. So, but then boom, back to business with such a shift back to his typical extreme. And this is a slay the day. This is a slay the day because this looks like a out there, unique reimagining fashion-wise. I could see this going down the runway because there's clearly, I'm seeing a jacket, I'm seeing lapels, I'm seeing collar, I'm seeing boots, pants. Like, I'm getting the whole fantasy coming to life here, as well as some really interesting body confidence coming through. And I find it interesting how fashion this is, despite the fact that it's technically part of that space pirate theme, which I feel like can play the day, as we'll see with a number of the characters. But this almost reminds me of almost also a twist that he had on a Hellfire Gala look in the comics. Not as extreme and like vast and like huge constitution, but just the play with the teeth in the mouth as like a jacket opening. I immediately thought of, even though that's the 50s, I thought of John Travolta, Grease Lightning, but also John Travolta was in Saturday Night Boogie. Like, what is that movie that he was in? It was also like a disco dancing movie. So I'm really getting that vibe from this, even though I feel like just with the jumpsuit, it takes us a little bit out of it. It just also, I don't know, I'm kind of just like having so many different feelings with regard to when I look at this one. On one end, it still feels very like Tank Vanguard oriented, just with the prismatic geometric arms and just with how big the accessories are. It almost just feels a little play the day, almost a little too camp. But at the same time, we do see that discernible fashion that was within the 70s, like the jumpsuit, like the different chains, still a little bit of a flare. It still feels so stylish, almost maybe a little bit more rock star, maybe a little bit more David Bowie-esque. So I just really love how that's all coming together. Love the disco and the hammer. Just, I don't know what's not to love about this. Now let's get into Rogue. I'm not going to talk too much about her as a character and like just the comic context. She never really was one of my favorites. And honestly, I don't even really like playing with her. She just is, it's just too much. I mean, this is a classic comic throwback, complementary to her incredible body. They really gave her some body, similar to any of the female vanguards within the game. I mean, obviously not completely reimagined and really not that unique. It's giving, yeah, Amazon woman, jungle, warrior, love it. But I mean, definitely not a favorite. This one is save the day despite the fact that I love the tight coordination between the belt, the jacket, and the boots. It was already kind of like that, but it just feels like with the modern cut and design of the clothing, it just makes it feel a little bit more fashion, especially knowing that we've seen a lot more kind of items like this over bodysuits within emerging contemporary women's fashion and just fashion in general. But this one saved her from falling lower in my overall considerations. A couple of notes here. Number one, how is it that Rogue came out after Emma Frost? Yes, she's the first feminine vanguard character to get a delicate, gorgeous, stunning, glamorous look like this. How come Emma Frost hasn't gotten something as soft and simple, glamorous slay like this? I understand that this is the whole love is a battlefield, like couple coordination theme sprinkled throughout, and it's conducive to her having something like this, given it's like a marriage theme, but it's gorgeous. I really love the gold elements. I love the softer white. I love that the white doesn't dominate it like it does Miss Invisible Woman. I just really like the still somewhat metallic structural hardware element that we're getting, even if maybe that's not the exact material. It's just hard for me to justify really getting into this one. I really want something like this for an Emma Frost. Speaking of Emma Frost, whoa, I've been holding some notes here. I've been seeing people really, let's get it out of the way. Retire this framework. Retire this tired framework. We've seen it time and time again. Open chest, structured shoulders, almost like a suit tailcoat orientation with some thigh-high boots. Boring, we've seen it before. I'm snooze fest. She deserves so much more than this. I will say that the tails are a little bit better than what we've been getting so far, and the boots are really serving it. But it's that pink in this design that makes this an absolute cheap, tacky mess. I understand that they want to give her something maybe a little more whimsical because it is that whole Alice in Wonderland card suit theme. So the pink kind of gives her something a little bit more whimsical than we've gotten, I think, in some of her other ones so far, but it actually makes it cheap. So they should have just kept it in the hair and kept the bottom of the boots red, just like the top jewel above her knee. And I mean, either way, you really couldn't have saved this. The ponytail's a slay. It's a slay the day, barely. Like, she deserves, like, oh my gosh. Now, I'm gonna give this a slay the day. She gets so, I must be biased. She gets so much benefit of the doubt for me because even though this is the whole space pirate theme, there's a lot going on in here and it's obviously really on the nose. I could still see like a Moschino. A designer can kind of just go on a whim when they really want to go out there. But I feel like if one of the more kind of campy, silly, thematic, fun oriented designer houses would do something like this. It's the jacket, it's the coat over the shoulders. At least we're getting a little bit of a break from that tired ass framework that she's been getting, but still kind of follows it. But it gives her just so much more movement, drama, presence, framework. Like give us a little bit more of that typical Emma Frost glamour in a different way, even though this still has those hardened elements that we know are conducive to her vanguard role. Love the hair on this one too. The hair is stunning. They're putting way more work into her hair than they are into her actual outfits. If I see another onesie, thigh-high boot situation, she's immediately at the bottom of the list. I've been itching to just comment on this one because this Magick skin came out for a while, but this is an obvious slay the day. And I really think that she's an incredible ambassador within the game for old fashion in general, alt female women's fashion particularly. I love that we get to see this next range within her capabilities and her style, her personal style. We've gotten the darker black looks. We've gotten the kind of funky, like really hardcore rocker style. We've gotten the armored. Now we get something that's more soft, cutesy, but all people definitely still dress. Like this is still technically alt, even like rocker kind of style. It's just the more bubblegum variation, girly pop spectrum, like side of the spectrum of it. The accessories, I would say, I can't keep calling these things Y2K. It's Y2K inspired, but it's definitely more of that modern Gen Z emerging experimental style, which I celebrated anytime it's at least coordinated, coherent, and gives us a little bit something new. And that's exactly what she's doing. This is a very assertive, save the day look for Adam, but the fact that it's just a different embodiment of him, like the purple skin and just the overall color palette and costume, I just love it. It's just different. It's darker. It's cool. And the colors work absolutely perfect together, just with that blue, purple, and red. I think that's really what's doing it for me, especially here. So a super simple, cool save the day. But whoa, next level, galaxy, cosmic, really plays into his overall theme perfectly. And I'm not usually one for something that's heavily armored, but this just feels more extraterrestrial than it feels like robo monster, like alien situation. It feels almost like a god, a deity to an extent. And just obviously the gold hardware mixed with those lighter shades and glowy elements of the blue is what really makes this feel so galactic, otherworldly, cosmic. It's just so fresh, clean, polished, effortlessly cool. Elsa also has, I feel like, a very classic European style. I feel like I've seen so much of this before. And I've also seen comparisons of this style to Ashe from Overwatch. Maybe they have a similar kit, but I love Ashe from Overwatch, but this is so much more of an interesting style. I just really feel like Marvel Rivals just goes multiple steps further in terms of the details. Typical kind of like throwback Monster Hunter, giving me a little bit of like Van Helsing, that woman who was like working with Van Helsing to an extent, but really just love her tight silhouette and loving the dimension and the different layers. It's not as cliche in terms of like the harness and the belt and like just those different kind of hardware tactical accessories. Really feel like we can push her in some really fun and cool directions, not only in terms of like hair, style, but just overall personality. But this one, right out of the gate, typically with regard to the immediate secondary looks that they give these characters, I'm just like I'm not always so moved. It just feels like maybe either some sort of really tight comic throwback, which maybe this is, I didn't really confirm, to be honest, or it's just some sort of like over glorified variation. This one just feels like we're immediately getting like a complete re-envisioning of her, just with the blonde hair, loving the body confidence immediately. Like, we already have her covered up in the first look. Let's just give her something so much more sleek, slim, and Lara Croft oriented. I mean, it's fun. It's just such a practical outfit. It's so slay the day fashion. She's, I think, going to be a walking slay the day across the board. And I don't know, just excited to see more of what she has. Okay. Oh, I don't know if this is a hot take. I have yet to see anybody else's opinions. This is an absolute disaster. And Luna is actually extremely lucky I didn't put her lower in this ranking, because I do not know who approved this. It's a tacky, messy disaster. Luna Snow 8th anniversary. She is not the main character. She looks like a throwaway side dancer who they had to put together her costume last minute because she just didn't remember to bring the right look. It's just, we get the asymmetry. I don't know that I like the blue and pink in this case. It just doesn't feel like it's really cohesive, and I'm not getting any sort of great synergy and relationship between it. The color variations kind of help that, but I just don't think the overall structure is great. The stars are all over the place. I mean, it's like, I feel like they tried to force giving her too much body confidence and try to go along that making it sexy cute thing with her so persistently, that to the point where, I don't know, this is a disaster. And she's gonna need a super strong skin after this for me to even take her character seriously, because they're playing a little bit too much in our face with regard to experimenting, or I don't even know what they're trying to do with her anymore. It was here where I'm just kind of like, okay, I can get into this, but now I feel like we're just starting to use her as some sort of like kawaii muse to do absolutely anything. This still feels a little bit Luna-esque. And again, like when you're like this international pop star, I can understand you would naturally fall into all these different aesthetics, but I'm just kind of like, this theme in general felt just so on the nose. As the game matures, they naturally need to lean into these broader themes in order to keep the cosmetics pumping and keep that money coming in. Like, trust me, if there's a skin that I like, I'm dropping some money for it. So I'm bought in, but it's cute. It feels classic Victorian with that, like, again, not fully Alice in Wonderland, but it could fall into that. This is more Candyland, but I don't know. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing something that just is starting to get too cliche, and I don't know how I feel about it. But it's still really cute, obviously. I mean, like, it's a really well-designed look, just with the skirt and how it falls to the side. The way that they play with asymmetry with her in multiple different ways, I think is the strongest element of hers. I'm just being hard on her because they spoil her so much. But anyway, now when I saw this Phoenix one, I was just like, didn't we already kind of get something like this from her with that purple one that I didn't like? Except this one's just so much more clean and fresh. Obviously, just with the ice component and theme involved for winter and skating. So this one's better. Between that purple one just felt like a tacky, feathery mess. This one at least feels a little just more put together. I think an over-glorified skin, I feel like it's still kind of basic and we're really not getting the most here. Great that they decorated like her little flame alter ego, but that thing is such a distraction and throwaway. I've never really been into it. At least her hair is kind of interesting, but I don't know. But what I do know is I significantly prefer this corporate CEO boss lady look 10 times over. It's just a clean, classic look. Anything for, I think, a really strong, assertive businesswoman to aspire to, or even just some sort of strong intellectual woman to aspire to. I've obviously seen the parallels that people have made to Bayonetta, and we're absolutely getting that strong, unapologetic, hyper feminine, like assertive, dominant feminine energy. It's really the lapels that give a little bit more of that feathery, I think, Phoenix touch, breaking us out of something that could have been too flat otherwise with this all black look. Loving the belt. I think the tie could have been a little bit different. I feel like it gets actually a bit lost, especially just with that all black corset situation that she's wearing. For that, you could have just done like a simple white button, like button up, and then maybe added some other accessories to the shirt itself. Other than that, it's fierce. And I think there's obviously no arguing with that. Now, Moon Knight continues to also get some very interesting treatment, and I'm really loving how conducive he is also to some fantastical things. But given that he is Moon Knight and white needs to be pretty central within his design, I feel like that this is effectively doing it just with enough complementary colors to not make it as cliche and flat and boring and one-dimensional as just constantly doing white costumes, even if that's lore appropriate. Loving the spade or club oriented concept here, and just with still a little bit almost like a galactic, otherworldly kind of like swirl effect within that shape. I feel like he's representing a very specific role within this kind of like royal card suit, Alice in Wonderland theme that we don't typically get, but just feels so anew with the overall design. I don't know how to describe it. Well, what have I been saying? Seeing the character underneath the man behind the mask. And this is giving the pure unadulterated like emo king, alternative king style and fantasy. I'm hearing all the Panic at the Disco, all the Fall Out Boy songs I could ever want to hear, just rushing back to me from the 2000s. And I just love the contrast between the black and the white. The purple, throwing purple in there always just adds this other mystical element to it, and also leans into that kind of like cosmic, otherworldly thing, which we also see like constellations pretty central to all of this. Just the moon, and that still is very, I think, well asserted even within a very artistic kind of different type of look. Now getting into Magneto, really liking a little bit more of the fashion and style that they're giving him. This is also a Slay the Day. Almost reminds me of like a Tron video game kind of like costume within like this kind of geometric technical world. I think it's the trench that is making the boots that's just making this feel so fashion. And the fact that it's like rolled up sleeves and we get a glove, like it just doesn't feel as covered up and as like one-dimensional flat suit like it could be otherwise. And love anytime he doesn't have like a helmet. Just love when we just get the person, and love when it's not the costume wearing the character, it's the character wearing the fashion. And speaking of, this is giving more Hellfire Gala than the look that they gave him and said was his Hellfire Gala look. This is just like, it's so style. The X buttons, anytime they do some sort of X-Men emblem button or like fasten, obsession, what makes this so exquisitely fashion is the draping. I get to finally talk about something a little bit different. Like, give me something to react to. The asymmetrical wrap and the belt around one side of the waist with the fabric draping down, not only in the front, but a little bit in the back. Fashion, fashion, fashion. Movement, drama, authority. Like, just exquisite. Purple was already associated with being divine and is within his like overall personal style framework. Like, he's just absolutely taking it. Now, I was surprised to put such a save the day look on a character so high in the rankings. I mean, this is Scarlet Witch's, this is a legendary look for her. Wasn't one that I was necessarily clamoring for, but given that we've seen such exquisite, luxurious, high fashion gowns and all like fabrics absolutely draping her body, and she's like dripping in high class, it doesn't hurt to have something that is just a little bit more sleek and simple and sharp. I love that there's like this ethereal, really lightweight cape, similar to what Black Widow had, that she has in her look, still just to give some of that flow and silhouette, especially just based on how she moves. Hair, always 10 out of 10. And I just really love a little bit of that, not actually gradient effect, but that kind of play between dark and light. And she has more silver in this look than I think a lot of the gold that she typically has, which I feel like just further separates this look out of the rest of the aesthetics within her collection. But then we're back to the gold, but we're now within purple. And I said this with regard to the Phoenix-oriented look that she has, that let's break her out of red and give her something else. And purple is really a great realm to put her in because it's mystical. It has great adjacency to the color red. And lo and behold, we have a fortune teller concept that she is leaning into and wearing perfectly. There were some comments where it's like, well, she's Scarlet Witch. Of course she's gonna be red. Duh, we all know that. Gosh, people are so annoying. Especially when I'm right. Like, I'm right. Purple, mystical, magical, like, watch my videos. Y'all need to take notes and do homework and do your own setting on my videos because I'm completely on the right track. I already said and celebrated Iron Man when he had that full-blown exquisite GQ suit, tailored suit, Hollywood premiere suit with the like beam coming from the chest and how the hardware or like the technology is like permeated throughout the rest of his body in order for him to do his abilities. Gosh, I can say that. Keep doing this. We've seen enough of the tin can. Like, I want to see the man underneath it. And it just feels like so much more intuitively ongoing inventor-esque of Tony to design his inventions or his like abilities and like his Iron Man elements in some sort of things like this. So even though this is a pirate theme, I'm going to give this a slay the day because I need to give positive reinforcement to bringing him out of just like his typical tin can. I want to see fashion, crop jacket, black, red, and gold. We already know this is associated with elite looks, especially with some purple thrown in there. Like, we have everything that we need. At this point, I am officially a Cloak and Dagger main, and I am quick to get my hands on any sort of new cosmetic that comes out for them. Unfortunately, I missed the window for this one. A little bummed, but not so much because Dagger looks kind of a little still on the nose of what we've kind of seen from her before. I'm not always so blown away by an ice skating uniform anyway. And that within itself almost gives save the day because it feels like just such a typical kind of suit and almost emulates what we would get out of a superhero suit anyway. Even though it's practical and it's meant to be fashion, I'm not moved. But we're gonna give him a slay the day because of Ty. And anytime we can get the amazing black man underneath all of that shadow and darkness like we did in the symbiote one, but like even just a nice clean cut, fresh, perfect for the ice concept, and his overall structure is just different. So I feel like he's the star of the show here, and then obviously complements and pairs well with Tandy and Dagger to make an overall slay of the day. Love the effects that this has. Can't wait till they put it back into the store because I'll get it, but would have maybe put this lower if not honestly for time. Okay, similar to Luna, I'm just like, when I saw this is cultural. This, I feel like, ties well still to like the Candyland sweet treat concept. And I feel like it's almost a little too soft for her. And this is kind of leaning into where I'm side-eyeing a little bit of the treatment because I'm just like, she's getting that spoiled treatment. Obviously, she's a gorgeous muse and looks really great in these different cosmetics. But I'm just kind of wondering, like, is this really as close to proximity of her personal style and what she would really wear? Like, is this really it? So I'm skeptical. Even though this is cute, I don't know. This is a little bit better, but this also still kind of feels like we're just kind of throwing like Psylocke into anything. And when I read the description for the skin, I feel like this is where they're kind of using the excuse of this like Alice in Wonderland. Like the whole season 5 through season 6 was just like anything goes. They're in this multi-dimensional trip, like they're being thrown here and there and everywhere. So you can kind of get away with just throwing a whole bunch of random cosmetics into the mix and some sort of general cliche themes and tropes that we've seen before. Does she wear it well? Yes. Is she conducive to strong, bold, feminine pirate body confidence? Absolutely. Like she could be a One Piece character. That's how I think, well, this could potentially suit her. But I just can't help but to wonder, like, is there not something a little bit more glamorous, like practical, but high fashion, but also like glamorous and covered up at the same time? That's a little bit of the challenge direction that I would like to see Psylocke go more into. instead of just like throwing these random costumes onto her that I just don't really even know if they fit, but they just need a cosmetic to kind of put into the market. And this one kind of voids that feedback, but my feedback is still built upon this and just how body confident it is. This is an absolute knockout look. What makes me feel like this is a little bit more conducive to Psylocke's personal style is the fact that she already kind of has like knee-high boots. Like, it's more so give me a boot over a soft cutesy stocking. Give me more of a progressive modern style that I feel like emulates some of the cuts and the shapes that we've seen in some of her costumes, whether that be like her default or even her kind of classic purple X-Men style. And give me a sharp hairstyle, fierce, cutthroat energy, and I feel like that this look has it. Brings together a little bit of that 70s disco with this modern, progressive, really body confident, claiming one's femininity style. Not trying to make it that philosophical and deep, but just really conveying all the thoughts that come to mind when I see Gambit is definitely one of my top favorite characters, and I think I'm a strategist main at this point because I pretty much push these characters straight to Lord, especially if they're a 4-star. But anyway, this initial look of his I'm going to give a play today. As soon as I saw this, I immediately thought of an Assassin's Creed look. This is leading into that thief kind of concept anyway, so that's what makes it also feel like a little bit of a costume. Rockets felt like more genuine fashion components coming together for a unified look. This just feels like a costume. Can't say it enough. Loving the gold, loving the white, but that's also what made me feel like, especially with the hood, that this was almost like a Moon Knight like prototype, and you can kind of see it in the pointed hood. That's why I'm just like, the more I study these very closely, the more I'm going to notice where maybe we're recycling and we're kind of bringing together some different pieces from other models in order to get these looks out the door. That's one thing I'll say about this. But as far as his default, even though it is obviously very close, even though it's pretty much his default from the classics, it's just made anew in so much more of a fresh way, to the point where I'm going to give it a slay today. Like, I've been seeing more of these men's bodysuits coming into fashion, and I've been tempted to buy some of them myself. And it's the fact that the boots just look so, like, I would almost dare say like a Rick Owens with a classic, well-tailored trench coat that just adds that necessary movement and drama. He had it anyway, but this just all looks more premium and polished, obviously based on the animation and the quality of like the engine and development. But it just really comes together, and I really love it. And I feel like the magenta in this case isn't as overwhelming and flat and cheap looking as it does in his default like comic look. But oh boy, I was like, I cannot wait till they give him a super sharp, fresh look. And I think that this is even incredible for a wedding look. I feel like Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman were like a cliche, typical like on the nose wedding attire, even if there's a little bit of like Swan Lake involved as it relates to Invisible Woman. This just feels like genuine men's fashion, even though there is obviously we can see a wedding touch to it. Loving the cropped tailcoat, loving the shoes and how they still tie back to that magenta kind of rouge-ish, pinkish color, and the white, along with some gold. Like, those shoes are one of a kind. It's in the details, and just an asymmetrical vest in terms of how it fastens. Like, and the fact that this is called Mr. X, which X over here, like, you already know I'm going to be exceptionally biased. And there's even studs on the shoulders of it, just to also highlight that he's still kind of rugged, and how him and Rogue are both kind of rugged in their own way. It's simple, perfect, but captures everything that it needs to perfectly. Oh, love it. Now, this is a darker Mr. Doctor Strange. This is a darker Doctor Strange look that I can get into. Not the fan of the zombie craziness or whatever else we've gotten before. This is still cool. Very cultish, very like cult arcane knowledge. The purple's incredible. I'm really loving the jewel, like purplish jewel kind of elements thrown out between the hood and the part of the robe. I mean, it's just, it's dark, it's grim, it's everything it needs to be, and yet it still just feels like high-ranking, high-class, like mysterious arcanist mage guy. I'm really struggling to capture how much I love Doctor Strange's look. Like, I filmed this I don't know how many times, just because I don't know the best way to capture why this is such a powerful look outside of just breaking down the elements. It's within obviously the gold, but it's just within the effortless stacking of the accessories under the jacket. Just with how well the scarf and the jewelry blends well with the kind of gold, somewhat gold decorated lapels. There's a subtle hint, I feel like, of a purple or some shade going on there, which then is a nice pop against the darker base of that purple shirt underneath everything. I feel like we're getting purple, jade, and gold, all signifying of some sort of like luxury and royalty. Like, it's all the right things brought together that represent something that's like upper echelon, but yet it still feels like he's part of the neighborhood. He's just that rich, super smart, magical man that lives down the street. That's really powerful to me. At this point, I'm convinced that Hela is quite easily the most fashionable character within the Marvel Rivals universe. Like I thought that it was gonna be Emma Frost. She's doing what Emma Frost is supposed to do. And I'm just like, this jumpsuit, bodysuit situation with this serpent belt, out of this world. All these beaded elements throughout. Like it's giving, which fashion house has the serpent? I don't want to say Versace, but Versace was one of the first designers that came to mind when I saw this. And then we have the fringe and the flared pants, like, and just the gradient overall. And then she still has some sheer ethereal elements. I actually noticed that she doesn't have as much of like the prismatic geometric pieces, which actually just further differentiates her. It puts her in a whole other realm beyond the other characters. Why this isn't a legendary, I don't know. And then just like that compact hat is what did it for me. It just took it all over the edge. I'm like, this is how you do fashion, theme, like this is how you do everything. The slay. This is super cute. There's one character that I felt like was actually rather fitting for this. It is Invisible Woman, because even though she's kind of tough and doesn't want to be underestimated, she still is, I feel like, a little conducive to more of like the cutesy homemaker. Not to say that that's what she is here, but like it just feels a little bit more appropriate for her. Like we had Venom, who was like the extreme memification of it, and then we have her, who I feel like is a little bit more of that cutesy, soft, motherly end. I mean, Luna and Psylocke still work with it, but I just felt like Luna was, I don't really know what that was, and then I feel like Psylocke was like a little bit more of the cultural traditional part, but like it's when they play with their hair maybe too much that takes me out of it, because we still have Invisible Woman's natural hair. I don't know. It's cute. It's play the day. This is much more, I think, campy, cute, like on the nose concept, like something I could see someone put together and craft artistically for a cosplay competition. And I actually hope to see people do that, because this is a really unique, interesting look. But yeah, it's better in other colors, but it's still really cute. But when I saw this, I was just like, this whole theme is out of control. Boogie, groovy nights, like it speaks to my soul, it speaks to my spirit. And even though I love this in blue, I just hate that they made her hair blue with it. I can get down with the pink. The flared pants that then go like see-through transparent to kind of give that invisible fade transition vibe, mixed with the spiral rounded, like wavy kind of blue elements throughout that then tie to the scarf belt that's around her waist, and the awesome scarf that's then around her neck. And then we get like amazing Fantastic Four belt stuff, like the silhouette, the shapes, the crop jacket, the way that everything is a 10 out of 10. Like, I love Hela's. I feel like it's a stronger, fiercer, high fashion look, but this one, as far as like imagination, creativity, layers, all these different design concepts and elements coming together for something that is still cohesive and conducive to a fashion sleigh, blown away. I feel like this is an embodiment of the pure, unadulterated talent that is going on with the development at NetEase. I can't gush enough. I can't gush enough, whatever you guys use to show that someone loves something passionately. This is it. And even though it's not a legendary skin, and even though it's based on the comic look that she already has, Storm was always going to take the top spot when I do this, especially when they give her a proper skin. And I've been craving this one. I've been wanting this one. I've been saying, you give her these hardened looks. The last one that she got before this was fantastical and softer, but she needs glamour. She's a queen. She's a goddess. And this is her queen goddess wedding skin, but this is a prototype that I want to see more from. I want to see gowns. I want to see draped, luxurious fabrics over her body as she's swirling through the wind, and see it come to life when she goes into her thunder mode. Like, this is Aurora. Layers and layers of locks and hair, like bust down, give it to her, like gold, jewels, the nines. Give it to her. I'm obsessed with the direction that Marvel Rivals fashion and style continues to go. And I knew that they would start rolling out significantly more and a wide breadth of them as they lean into their thematic seasonal themes, because the foundation of the game is set. They're 1 year mature. Now they really need to innovate and elevate in terms of different play styles, different features and kind of modes. And most importantly to me, fashion and cosmetics. So if this is any indication of where they can continue to go, don't lose that steam. keep it pumping because I will drop the dollars. Anyway, let me know if there were any sort of cosmetics that you had a special affinity toward, or if there's some cosmetics that you think, or ideas or themes that you would love to see make their way into these incredible cosmetic collections. But thanks so much for sitting through this with me. Appreciate y'all watching, and until the next video, I'll talk to you later.